Have you ever felt a pang of guilt for wanting more? More success, more impact, more wealth? Society often frames ambition as greed, painting the desire for abundance as a moral failing, a character flaw that must be suppressed and denied. What if that's a lie designed to keep you small? A psychological prison constructed by those who have never tasted the true nature of reality. What if your desire for more isn't just natural, isn't merely acceptable, but is actually a divine cosmic impulse flowing through the very fabric of existence? What if the universe itself is not just allowing you to be rich, not simply permitting your prosperity, but actively demanding it, requiring it as a fundamental expression of its own infinite nature? This is not philosophy. This is the hidden architecture of reality itself, and you are about to discover why your wealth is not optional, but inevitable. The pain you carry is real, and it runs deeper than you might imagine. It is the internal conflict and subconscious guilt associated with the desire for wealth, a psychological civil war that creates self-sabotage at every turn and blocks the manifestation of the very abundance you seek. You want more, yet you judge yourself for wanting it. You reach for success, then pull back your hand as if touching something forbidden. This guilt operates like a virus in your consciousness, corrupting every financial decision, every business move, every moment when opportunity presents itself. Many spiritual paths teach renunciation and the shrinking of desire, telling you that wanting less is the path to peace, that poverty is somehow noble, that self-denial is the highest virtue. But Wallace D. Wattles, a man who pierced the veil of conventional wisdom over a century ago, revealed a startling truth that shatters this false teaching. The entire universe is governed by one primary law, the law of increase, and everything in nature seeks a fuller expression of life. A seed doesn't apologize for wanting to be a tree. It pushes through the soil with relentless determination. A tree doesn't feel guilty for wanting to bear fruit. It channels every resource toward maximum expression. The river doesn't question its desire to reach the ocean. It flows with absolute certainty. This is the reverse bridge you must cross. From the modern confusion about wealth to the ancient eternal truth that increase is the heartbeat of existence itself. Your ancestors knew this, the masters knew this. And the universe has been whispering it to you through your desires, through your ambitions, through that persistent voice that says, there must be more. The promise is this: you will learn how to align your personal desire for wealth with this unstoppable cosmic force, transforming your ambition from a source of guilt into a channel for divine expression. You will discover that your wealth is not something you take from the world, but something you bring to the world. You will understand that every dollar you earn through right alignment is a vote from the universe saying, yes, express more life through this person. This is not about becoming rich at the expense of others. It is about becoming rich as a natural consequence of adding value to others, of becoming a center through which the universal impulse toward increase can flow and manifest. Let me introduce you to the principle of increase, the heartbeat of the cosmos, the fundamental rhythm that pulses through every atom, every cell, every galaxy. This is not a human invention. It is a cosmic law, as real as gravity, as unchangeable as mathematics. The thinking substance from which all things are made is not dead matter waiting to be shaped. It is alive, intelligent, and driven by an insatiable desire to express itself more fully. And here is the pact I make with you today. In this video, you will learn why your desire for wealth is not selfish, but sacred. You will discover the precise three-step method to become a center of increase, a living magnet that attracts opportunities, resources, and abundance, not through manipulation or force, but through alignment with the deepest currents of reality itself. You will understand why some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth, while others struggle their entire lives, and it has nothing to do with luck, privilege, or circumstances. It has everything to do with whether they are aligned with or resisting the law of increase. But I must warn you, there is one specific action that feels like you're creating value, that seems like smart business, that appears to be shrewd and practical, but actually violates the law of increase at its core, shutting down the flow of abundance instantly. This common business mistake is made by millions of people every single day, and it is the invisible barrier between them and the wealth they seek. I will reveal this exact mistake in part 4, and when you hear it, you will immediately recognize it in your own behavior. For now, I want you to do something. I want you to acknowledge the truth. Have you ever felt guilty for wanting more money? Have you ever judged yourself for your ambition? Leave a comment below and simply write yes if you have experienced this guilt. This is not just engagement. This is your first act of honesty. Your first step toward liberation from the psychological chains that have kept you from your cosmic inheritance. And if you are ready to learn why the universe demands your wealth, why your prosperity is not optional but essential, then stay with me as we descend into the foundation of this ancient law. Wallace D. Wattles wrote something that should be carved into the consciousness of every human being. The normal desire for increased life is not evil or reprehensible. Read that again, slowly, and feel the weight of what it means. Your desire for more is not a character flaw. It is the most natural impulse in the universe expressing itself through you. The thinking substance from which all things are made, the formless intelligence that underlies all of reality, is not passive or inert. It is alive, conscious, and driven by an inherent nature to constantly seek fuller expression and more life. This is not mystical speculation. This is observable in every corner of existence, from the smallest microorganism to the largest galactic cluster. Consider the nature of life itself. Every living thing is programmed with an imperative to grow, to expand, to express itself more fully. A single cell divides and becomes two. An acorn contains within itself the blueprint for a mighty oak. A human infant possesses the potential for genius, for creativity, for contributions that can change the world. This is not random. This is the law of increase written into the DNA of reality. And you, as a conscious being, are not exempt from this law. You are its highest expression, the point at which the universe becomes aware of itself and consciously participates in its own expansion. Your desire for wealth is not you being greedy. It is the universe seeking to express more of itself through the vehicle of your life. A rose is not selfish for blooming. It does not apologize for its beauty or feel guilty for drawing resources from the soil. It blooms because that is its nature, because the life force within it demands expression. When a rose blooms, it adds beauty to the world. It provides nectar for bees. It becomes part of the greater ecosystem of life. Its self-expression is simultaneously an act of service. This is the key insight that most people miss. Your enrichment and the world's enrichment are not opposing forces. They are the same force viewed from different angles. When you become wealthy through right alignment with the law of increase, you are not taking from a finite pie. You are expanding the pie itself, creating new value, new possibilities, new resources that did not exist before. You are not selfish for wanting the resources, the money, to express your talents fully. You are not greedy for desiring the means to develop your mind, to cultivate your body, to experience the fullness of life that is your birthright. In fact, the opposite is true. To deny your desire for increase is to deny the fundamental impulse of the universe itself. It is to say to the creative force that made you, I reject your gift. I refuse to be a channel for your expression. This is not humility. This is the ultimate arrogance, the belief that you know better than the universe what should flow through you. Every master who has ever lived understood this truth. Your personal advancement is not separate from universal advancement. They are identical. Your desire for more is God's desire for expression, working through you. Let that sink in. When you feel the pull toward greater wealth, greater impact, greater life, that is not your small ego speaking. That is the infinite intelligence that created galaxies and orchestrates the dance of atoms, expressing itself through the particular instrument of your consciousness. You are not the source of the desire. You are the channel through which it flows. And when you understand this, when you truly grasp that your ambition is a sacred impulse, everything changes. The guilt dissolves. The self-sabotage ends. You stop fighting yourself and start flowing with the greatest power in existence. Think about what happens when you suppress this desire. You become smaller, dimmer, less alive. Your energy contracts, your creativity withers, your impact on the world diminishes. And this is not just a personal tragedy, it is a cosmic tragedy, because the universe has lost one of its channels for increase. Every time you deny your legitimate desire for more life, you are closing a valve through which abundance could flow not just to you, but through you to everyone you touch. This is why poverty is not noble. It is a form of violence against the self and against the world. Not the poverty of circumstances, which can be temporary and instructive, but the poverty of spirit, the deliberate choice to remain small when you could be great. The masters throughout history have understood this principle in different languages and different frameworks, but they all point to the same truth. The Buddhists speak of the bodhisattva, who seeks enlightenment not just for personal liberation, but to save all beings. The Christians speak of the talents parable, where the servant who buried his talent was condemned, while those who multiplied theirs were rewarded. The Hindus speak of dharma, the righteous path that includes material prosperity as a natural consequence of right action. Wattles synthesized this ancient wisdom into a clear, practical framework. The universe is increase, and you are meant to participate in that increase consciously and deliberately. But here is where most people stumble. They think that because the desire for increase is natural and cosmic, they can pursue wealth through any means necessary. They confuse the law of increase with the law of the jungle, with competition and domination. This is a catastrophic error. The law of increase operates on the creative plane, not the competitive plane. It is not about taking a larger slice of an existing pie. It is about making the pie larger for everyone. When you understand this distinction, you unlock a power that transcends anything available through competition, manipulation, or force. You become a creator rather than a competitor, and the universe responds to creators with an open hand. Consider the difference between a competitive mindset and a creative mindset. In competition, there are winners and losers. Resources are seen as finite. Your gain is someone else's loss. This creates a zero-sum game that generates anxiety, conflict, and ultimately limitation because you are operating from the belief in scarcity. But in creation, there are only winners. Resources are seen as infinite because they are generated through the act of creation itself. Your gain is everyone's gain because you have added something new to the world. This is the mental shift that separates those who struggle for wealth from those who attract it effortlessly. The struggling person is trying to get a bigger piece of a fixed pie. The attracting person is baking new pies. Your desire for increased life is the universe announcing its intention to express more fully through you. It is the creative force knocking on the door of your consciousness, asking to be let in, asking for your cooperation in the great work of expansion. And when you open that door, when you say yes to this cosmic impulse, you do not become a taker. You become a giver on a scale you cannot yet imagine. You become a fountain from which abundance flows not just to you but through you, enriching everyone in your sphere of influence. This is not theory. This is the practical mechanics of how wealth actually works in alignment with universal law. The guilt you have felt, the shame around your ambition, the sense that wanting more makes you somehow less spiritual or less moral, all of this is programming, conditioning from a world that benefits from your smallness. Who benefits when you stay poor? Who profits from your self-denial? Not you, certainly. Not the people you could serve if you had resources. Not the innovations you could fund, the jobs you could create, the lives you could transform. The only ones who benefit from your poverty are those who want less competition, less light in the world, less evidence that abundance is available to everyone who aligns with the law. Your wealth is a threat to the paradigm of scarcity, and that paradigm will do everything it can to make you feel guilty for wanting what is rightfully yours. But now, you know the truth. Your desire for wealth is not a deviation from the spiritual path. It is the spiritual path expressing itself in material terms. The universe does not separate the spiritual from the material. That is a human invention, a false dichotomy that has caused immeasurable suffering. In reality, matter is spirit made visible. Wealth is the spiritual principle of abundance taking physical form. When you generate wealth through alignment with increase, you are not abandoning the spiritual for the material. You are demonstrating the spiritual through the material. You are proving that the invisible laws of the universe are real, are powerful, and are available to anyone who learns to work with them. This is the central concept that will transform your relationship with money forever. The law of increase is not a technique you apply occasionally. It is the fundamental nature of reality itself, and your only choice is whether to align with it or resist it. Resistance creates struggle, limitation, and suffering. Alignment creates flow, abundance, and joy. The universe is not neutral about your prosperity. It is actively, relentlessly pushing toward your increase, because your increase is its increase. Every obstacle you face is not the universe blocking you, it is you blocking the universe. Every limitation you experience is not evidence of scarcity, it is evidence of misalignment. And the moment you correct that misalignment, the moment you become a clear channel for the impulse of increase, everything changes. So let me ask you directly, are you ready to stop fighting the most powerful force in existence? Are you ready to stop apologizing for wanting what the universe is trying to give you? Are you ready to understand that your wealth is not just permitted, but required, not just allowed, but demanded by the very structure of reality? If your answer is yes, then you are ready for the next level of understanding, the unshakable logic that will make this law as real to you as the ground beneath your feet. Let me give you an analogy that will make the law of increase as clear as sunlight. The universe is a river of life, always flowing, always expanding, never static, never still. This river has been flowing since before time began, and it will flow long after the last star burns out. It is the current of existence itself, the fundamental movement from potential to actual, from less to more, from simple to complex. And you, whether you realize it or not, are standing in this river. You have always been in this river. You cannot step out of this river because there is nowhere outside of it to stand. Your only choice is whether you will be a clear channel, allowing this river to flow through you and expand, or whether you will be a dam, trying to hold back the current with beliefs of lack and self-denial. Think about what a dam does. It attempts to stop the flow, to contain the water, to prevent the natural movement of the river, and for a time, it may seem successful. The water pools behind it, creating an artificial lake, a reservoir of stored potential. But the river doesn't care about the dam. The river doesn't negotiate with the dam or respect its boundaries. The river has only one imperative: to flow. And so the water will either go around the dam, finding new channels and paths, or it will build up pressure behind the dam until the structure can no longer hold, and then it will break through with devastating force. Either way, the river wins. The river always wins because the river is not fighting, it is simply being what it is. Now apply this to your life and your relationship with wealth. When you hold beliefs of scarcity, when you feel guilty about your desires, when you deny your legitimate ambition for more life, you are building a dam. You are trying to stop the natural flow of abundance that wants to move through you. And just like a physical dam, this mental dam creates pressure. You feel the pressure as anxiety, as frustration, as the sense that you are working hard but getting nowhere. You feel it as the gap between what you want and what you have, between your potential and your reality. This pressure is not the universe punishing you. It is the universe trying to break through your resistance, trying to force you back into alignment with the natural flow. But here is the beautiful truth. It is far easier and more natural to align with the current than to resist it. When you stop being a dam and become a channel, when you allow the river of increase to flow through you without obstruction, everything becomes effortless. Not easy, but effortless. There is a difference. Easy implies no work. Effortless implies work that is aligned with natural forces, work that is supported by the universe rather than opposed by it. Think of a sailboat. Rowing against the wind is hard, exhausting, and slow. But when you turn the boat and catch the wind in your sails, suddenly you are flying across the water with minimal effort. The wind was always there, you just needed to position yourself to receive it. This is the unshakable logic of the law of increase. The universe is already moving toward expansion, already expressing more life, already creating abundance. You do not need to create this movement, you need to align with it. You do not need to force abundance into existence. You need to remove the blocks that prevent it from flowing to you. The river is already flowing, you just need to stop damming it. And when you do, when you become a clear channel, you tap into a power that is infinite, inexhaustible, and utterly reliable. This is not faith in the sense of believing something without evidence. This is faith in the sense of trusting what you can observe in every corner of nature. Look at the natural world with fresh eyes. Does a tree struggle to grow? It does not wrestle with guilt about taking nutrients from the soil. It does not apologize for reaching toward the sun. It does not question whether it deserves to bear fruit. It simply grows naturally and inevitably because growth is its nature. And in growing, it provides oxygen, shade, beauty, and habitat for countless other creatures. Its self-expression is simultaneously an act of service. This is the model for your wealth. When you grow, when you expand, when you become more, you automatically create value for everyone around you. Your increase is not separate from their increase, it is the mechanism of their increase. But most people have been taught the opposite. They have been taught that resources are finite, that wealth is a zero-sum game, that for them to have more, someone else must have less. This belief is the dam, the obstruction that prevents the river from flowing. And it is completely false, demonstrably false if you simply look at the evidence. The total wealth of humanity has increased exponentially over the centuries. We have more food, more technology, more knowledge, more of everything than our ancestors could have imagined. Where did this increase come from? It did not come from redistributing a fixed amount of resources. It came from creation, from innovation, from people who aligned with the law of increase and brought new value into existence. Every invention, every business, every work of art is an act of increase. The person who invents a better tool has not taken anything from anyone. They have added something new to the world. The entrepreneur who builds a business that solves a problem has not diminished anyone. They have increased the total value available to everyone. The artist who creates beauty has not stolen from the world. They have enriched it. This is the creative plane, the realm where wealth is generated rather than competed for. And access to this plane is not limited to a chosen few. It is available to anyone who understands the law and applies it consistently. The river doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about your education, your background, your previous failures. The river only cares about one thing. Are you aligned with its flow or are you resisting it? This is why people from the most disadvantaged circumstances can rise to great wealth, while people born with every advantage can squander it all. It is not about starting position. It is about alignment. The person who aligns with increase, regardless of their starting point, will rise. The person who resists increase, regardless of their advantages, will fall. This is not morality. This is mechanics. This is not judgment. This is law. Consider the implications of this logic. If the universe is a river of increase, always flowing, always expanding, then lack and limitation are not the natural state of things. They are aberrations, distortions, temporary blockages in the flow. Poverty is not the default. Abundance is the default. Struggle is not what the universe intends. Ease is what the universe intends. When you experience lack, it is not because the universe is withholding from you. It is because you are withholding from the universe, blocking the flow with your beliefs, your fears, your guilt about wanting more. Remove the blocks, and the river flows. It is that simple, and that profound. But simplicity does not mean easy implementation. The dam of limiting beliefs has been built over years, perhaps over lifetimes if you believe in such things. It has been reinforced by culture, by religion, by well-meaning parents and teachers who themselves did not understand the law. Taking down this dam requires more than intellectual understanding. It requires a fundamental shift in how you see yourself and your relationship to the universe. You must move from seeing yourself as a separate entity competing for scarce resources to seeing yourself as an extension of the universal mind, a channel through which infinite abundance flows. This is not a small shift. This is a complete transformation of identity. And yet, this transformation is not only possible, it is inevitable for anyone who truly grasps the logic of the law of increase. Once you see that the river is real, once you feel its current, once you understand that alignment is natural and resistance is artificial, you cannot unsee it. You cannot go back to the old paradigm of scarcity and competition. You may still have moments of fear or doubt, but they will be recognized for what they are. Temporary clouds passing across the sun, not the sun itself. The sun is always there, always shining. The river is always flowing, always increasing. And you are always, in your deepest nature, a channel for that flow. This is the unshakable logic that will carry you through every doubt, every setback, every moment when circumstances seem to contradict the law. The river doesn't stop flowing because you hit a rock. It goes around the rock or over it or gradually wears it down. The river is patient, persistent, and utterly unstoppable. And when you align yourself with the river, you inherit these qualities. You become patient with the process, persistent in your application of the law, and unstoppable in your movement toward increase. Not because you are forcing anything, but because you have stopped resisting and started flowing. So here is the question you must answer for yourself. Will you continue to be a dam, or will you become a channel? Will you continue to resist the most powerful force in the universe, or will you align with it? Will you continue to feel guilty for your desires, or will you recognize them as the universe calling you to your destiny? The river is flowing right now, in this moment, through these words, through your awareness, through the very impulse that led you to seek this knowledge. The question is not whether the river will flow. The question is whether you will flow with it. And if you choose yes, if you choose alignment, then you are ready for the architecture, the specific steps that will transform you from a dam into a channel, from someone who struggles for wealth into someone who attracts it naturally and inevitably. The transformation from dam to channel, from resistant to aligned, from struggling to flowing, this transformation does not happen through wishful thinking or passive hoping. It requires a complete reframing of ambition at the deepest levels of your consciousness, a mental preparation so thorough that it rewrites the very operating system of your mind. You must see your desire for wealth not as taking something from the world, but as a way to bring more life to the world. This is not a semantic trick or a clever reframe to make yourself feel better about wanting money. This is the actual truth of how wealth works when it is generated through alignment with the law of increase rather than through competition and extraction. Let me be absolutely clear about what this mental preparation requires. It requires you to examine every transaction, every interaction, every business decision, every moment of exchange through a single lens. Am I bringing increase to this situation, or am I trying to extract value? This lens must become so automatic, so ingrained in your consciousness, that you no longer have to think about it consciously. It must become your default way of seeing the world. When you meet someone, your first thought should not be, what can I get from this person? But rather, how can I bring increase to this person? When you consider a business opportunity, your first question should not be, how much can I make? But rather, how much value can I create? This mental shift is difficult because it goes against everything modern culture teaches about success. We are taught to be shrewd negotiators, to get the best deal, to maximize our take from every situation. We are taught that business is war, that the market is a battlefield, that winning means someone else losing. This entire paradigm is built on the competitive plane, the realm of scarcity and limitation. And yes, you can generate wealth on the competitive plane. Many people do. But wealth generated through competition is always precarious, always requiring vigilance and defense, always creating enemies and obstacles. It is exhausting, stressful, and ultimately unsatisfying because you are fighting against the fundamental current of the universe. Wealth generated through increase, on the other hand, is stable, sustainable, and self-reinforcing. When you bring increase to every interaction, you create allies rather than enemies. You build goodwill rather than resentment. You generate opportunities that multiply rather than deplete. People want to work with you, want to support you, want to see you succeed, because your success is their success. This is not manipulation. This is the natural consequence of aligning with the law of increase. When you make everyone around you feel more alive, more capable, more abundant, they naturally want more of you in their lives. You become magnetic not through force, but through genuine value creation. But here is where most people fail in this mental preparation. They try to adopt the mindset of increase as a strategy, as a technique, to get what they want. They think, if I act like I'm bringing increase, people will give me money. This is still operating from the competitive plane, still trying to manipulate outcomes, still fundamentally rooted in scarcity. The mindset of increase must be genuine, must be rooted in the deep understanding that the universe is abundant and that your role is to be a channel for that abundance. You're not pretending to bring increase as a tactic. You are actually bringing increase as an expression of your alignment with universal law. How do you develop this genuine mindset? You begin by observing nature, by seeing the law of increase in action everywhere around you. Watch a tree grow and notice how it gives shade, oxygen, beauty, and habitat, without calculation or expectation of return. Watch a bee pollinate flowers and notice how it serves its own needs while simultaneously serving the needs of the entire ecosystem. Watch a river flow and notice how it nourishes everything in its path without diminishing itself. These are not metaphors. These are demonstrations of the law in action. Nature is not competitive. Nature is creative. And you are nature, not separate from it, not above it, but an integral part of it. As you observe these patterns in nature, you begin to see them in human affairs as well. The businesses that thrive over decades are not the ones that squeeze every penny from their customers. They are the ones that create genuine value, that solve real problems, that make their customers' lives better. The employees who rise to leadership are not the ones who hoard information and undermine colleagues. They are the ones who share knowledge, who lift others up, who make everyone around them more effective. The artists who achieve lasting impact are not the ones who calculate what will sell. They are the ones who give their authentic gift, who create from a place of genuine expression. In every field, in every domain, the pattern is the same. Those who bring increase rise and those who merely extract eventually fall. This mental preparation also requires you to confront and release any hidden beliefs that wealth is somehow dirty or that rich people are somehow bad. These beliefs are poison to your alignment with increase. If you believe at any level that having money makes you a bad person, you will unconsciously sabotage every opportunity to acquire it. Your subconscious mind will not allow you to become something you have judged as negative. This is why so many people who win the lottery or receive sudden wealth quickly lose it. They have not done the mental preparation, have not resolved the internal conflict between wanting wealth and believing it is wrong. You must come to see wealth as neutral, as a tool that amplifies whatever is already in your character. Money makes good people more good because it gives them more resources to express their goodness. Money makes bad people more bad because it gives them more resources to express their badness. The money itself is not the issue. The consciousness of the person holding it is the issue. And when you hold wealth from a consciousness of increase, when you see money as a means to bring more life to the world, then your wealth becomes a blessing not just for you, but for everyone you touch. This is the mental frame that must become your default, your automatic way of seeing reality. Another critical aspect of this mental preparation is understanding that you are not responsible for other people's choices or circumstances, but you are responsible for the impression you leave on them. You cannot force anyone to adopt the mindset of increase. You cannot make anyone align with universal law. But you can ensure that everyone who interacts with you walks away feeling more alive, more capable, more hopeful than they were before. This is your sphere of influence, your domain of responsibility. And when you consistently bring this impression of increase to every interaction, you create a field of influence that extends far beyond your immediate presence. Think about the people in your life who make you feel more alive when you are around them. They may not be the most educated or the most accomplished, but they have a quality and energy that is uplifting. When you talk to them, you feel better about yourself, about your possibilities, about life itself. These people are operating from the principle of increase, whether they know it consciously or not. They are channels for the universal impulse toward more life. And notice how naturally opportunities flow to them, how people want to help them, how doors seem to open in their path. This is not luck. This is law. This is the universe responding to alignment. Now imagine being that person consistently, in every interaction, in every moment. Imagine walking through the world as a source of increase, as someone who makes everything and everyone better simply by your presence. This is not arrogance, this is responsibility. This is not ego, this is service. This is the mental preparation that transforms you from someone who wants wealth into someone who attracts wealth as naturally as a flower attracts bees. The bees are not attracted by force, they are attracted by nectar, by genuine value. And when you become a source of genuine value, when you embody the principle of increase, the universe will send you more opportunities than you can possibly handle. But this mental preparation is not a one-time event. It is a daily practice, a constant refinement of your consciousness. Every day you must ask yourself, am I seeing the world through the lens of scarcity or abundance? Am I approaching interactions with the mindset of extraction or increase? Am I being a dam or a channel? These questions are not burdensome, they are liberating. They give you a clear standard by which to measure your alignment. And when you notice yourself slipping into scarcity thinking, into competitive mindset, into extraction mode, you simply correct course. No judgment, no guilt, just a gentle return to alignment with the law. This is the foundation of mental preparation, a complete and total commitment to seeing your wealth as a means of bringing more life to the world. Not as a tactic, not as a strategy, but as a genuine expression of your understanding of how the universe works. When this commitment becomes absolute, when it permeates every level of your being, then you are ready for the execution, for the specific steps that will make you a center of increase and a magnet for abundance. But without this mental preparation, the steps will be empty techniques, mechanical actions, without the consciousness that gives them power. So take this preparation seriously. Meditate on it. Observe it in nature. Practice it in small interactions. Let it become so deeply ingrained that it is no longer something you do, but something you are. The mental preparation is complete when you can honestly say, I want to be wealthy not to escape the world, but to engage with it more fully. I want resources not to hoard them, but to deploy them in service of increase. I want success not to prove something, but to express something. When you can say these things and mean them at the deepest level of your being, when there is no hidden agenda, no secret selfishness, no unconscious guilt, then you are ready. Then you are prepared. Then you are a clear channel for the river of increase, and nothing can stop the flow of abundance into your life. Now we arrive at the execution, the practical architecture that will transform you from someone who understands the law of increase intellectually into someone who embodies it practically. These are not abstract principles. These are concrete steps that you can implement immediately, today in your current circumstances, regardless of your job, your business, or your financial situation. These 3 steps are the mechanism by which you become a center of increase, a living magnet that attracts wealth not through force or manipulation, but through alignment with the deepest currents of reality. Master these steps, and you will never struggle for money again. Ignore them, and you will always be pushing against the current, always wondering why success seems so hard. Step 1. Hold the impression of increase. You must radiate an aura of success, advancement, and growth in everything you do, in every interaction, in every moment of your life. Your thoughts, your posture, your words, your energy must convey the impression that you are an advancing person who brings increase to others. This is not about faking success or pretending to be something you are not. This is about aligning your external expression with the internal reality that you are connected to an infinite source of abundance. When you walk into a room, people should feel that something good is about to happen. When you speak, people should feel more hopeful about their own possibilities. When you leave, people should feel that the world is a little bit brighter, a little bit more full of potential. This impression of increase is not created through words alone, though words are important. It is created through the totality of your being, through the energy you carry, through the certainty you embody. People are incredibly sensitive to energy, even if they cannot articulate what they are sensing. They can feel whether you are coming from a place of lack or abundance, whether you are desperate or confident, whether you are taking or giving, and they respond to this feeling far more than they respond to your words or your credentials. This is why someone with minimal qualifications but a strong impression of increase, will often get opportunities that someone with superior qualifications but an energy of lack will not. The universe, working through other people, is always responding to your energetic state. How do you develop this impression of increase? You begin by getting your internal house in order. You cannot radiate abundance if you are consumed by thoughts of scarcity. You cannot project confidence if you are drowning in self-doubt. You cannot hold the impression of increase if your mind is constantly focused on what you lack. This is why the mental preparation we discussed earlier is so critical. The impression of increase flows naturally from a consciousness aligned with the law of increase. When you genuinely see yourself as a channel for universal abundance, when you truly understand that the river is flowing through you, then the impression of increase is not something you create, it is something you naturally express. But there are also practical elements to holding this impression. Your physical appearance matters, not because of vanity, but because it signals respect for yourself and for others. You do not need expensive clothes, but your clothes should be clean, appropriate, and well-maintained. Your environment matters, whether it is your home, your office, or your car. It should reflect order, care, and an upward trajectory. You do not need luxury, but you need to avoid squalor and chaos, because these external conditions reflect and reinforce internal states of limitation. Your communication matters. You should speak with clarity, confidence, and optimism, avoiding the language of complaint, victimhood, or limitation. Every word you speak is a vote for the reality you are creating. The impression of increase also requires that you associate with advancing people and avoid the company of those who are committed to limitation. This is not snobbery, this is energetic hygiene. If you spend your time with people who constantly complain, who see obstacles everywhere, who believe the system is rigged against them, their energy will drag you down into the competitive plane, into scarcity consciousness. But if you spend your time with people who are building, creating, advancing, who see opportunities where others see obstacles, their energy will lift you up, will reinforce your own impression of increase. You become like the people you spend time with, so choose carefully. Step 2. Give more in use value than you take in cash value. This is the practical core of the law of increase, the specific mechanism by which you create the cosmic surplus that must return to you. In every transaction, whether you are an employee, a business owner, a freelancer, or anything else, you must ensure that the value of the work you perform, the service you provide, the product you deliver, is greater than the money you receive for it. This is not charity. This is not working for free. This is not allowing yourself to be exploited. This is the conscious creation of value that exceeds price, and it is the secret to unstoppable wealth. Let me be very specific about what this means. If you are an employee earning a salary of $50,000 per year, you must ensure that the value you create for your employer is worth at least $60,000 or $70,000. The gap between what you are paid and what you deliver is the increase you are bringing to the organization. If you are a business owner selling a product for $100, the value that product delivers to the customer's life must be worth at least $150 in their perception. The gap between price and value is the increase you are bringing to the market. This gap is not a loss for you. It is an investment in the universal law that will return to you multiplied. Most people have this exactly backwards. They try to get the maximum payment for the minimum work. They try to charge the highest price for the lowest cost. They see every transaction as an opportunity to extract as much as possible while giving as little as possible. This is the competitive plane, the mindset of scarcity, and it is a guaranteed path to struggle and limitation. Yes, you may make some money this way. You may even make a lot of money in the short term. But you will never build lasting wealth, never create a sustainable business, never attract the kind of opportunities that come from being known as a person who brings increase. You will always be hustling, always be selling, always be pushing, because you are fighting against the current rather than flowing with it. When you give more in use value than you take in cash value, something magical happens. The person or organization receiving your service feels that they got a great deal. They feel grateful. They feel increased. And what do people do when they feel increased? They come back for more, they tell others. They become advocates for you. They look for ways to help you succeed because your success is their success. This is how you build a reputation, how you create a network, how you become the person everyone wants to work with, not through marketing tricks or manipulation, but through genuine value creation that exceeds expectation. But here is the key that most people miss. You must give this extra value consistently, not just when you feel like it or when it is convenient. It must become your standard, your baseline, your non-negotiable way of operating. Every task, every project, every interaction is an opportunity to over-deliver, to exceed expectations, to bring increase. And when you do this consistently over time, you create a momentum that becomes unstoppable. Opportunities begin to find you. Resources begin to flow to you. People begin to seek you out. This is not mystical. This is the natural consequence of being a reliable source of increase in a world where most people are trying to get by with the minimum. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine two freelance designers. Designer A charges $500 for a logo and delivers exactly what was requested. Nothing more, nothing less. The client gets what they paid for and moves on. Designer B also charges $500, but in addition to the logo, they provide a brand guide, 3 variations, and some suggestions for how to use the logo effectively across different platforms. The client feels they got incredible value, far more than they expected. Which designer do you think gets more referrals? Which one builds a thriving business? Which one attracts premium clients who are happy to pay higher rates? Designer B, every single time, because they are operating from the law of increase. Step 3. Make everyone you touch feel increased. This is the culmination of the previous 2 steps, the ultimate expression of the law of increase in human interaction. In every encounter, whether it is a business meeting, a casual conversation, a transaction, or even a brief exchange, your goal is to leave the other person with a feeling of expansion and growth. Whether through your words, your service, or your attitude, they should feel better, more capable, and more alive for having interacted with you. This is not about being artificially positive or putting on a false persona. This is about genuinely caring about the growth and well-being of every person you encounter and expressing that care through your presence and your actions. How do you make someone feel increased? Sometimes it is through encouragement, noticing something good about them and acknowledging it genuinely. Sometimes it is through insight, offering a perspective that helps them see their situation more clearly. Sometimes it is through practical help, solving a problem or removing an obstacle. Sometimes it is simply through your energy, being fully present and attentive in a world where most people are distracted and disconnected. The specific method matters less than the intention. You are there to add to their life, not to take from it. You are there to leave them better than you found them. This step requires a high level of emotional intelligence and awareness. You must be able to read people, to sense what they need, to understand what would be genuinely helpful versus what would be intrusive or unwanted. You must also be willing to give without expectation of immediate return. You are not making people feel increased as a manipulation tactic to get something from them. You are doing it as an expression of your alignment with the law of increase, trusting that the universe will handle the returns in its own way and its own time. This is the difference between genuine increase and manipulative flattery. One comes from abundance, the other comes from scarcity. The beautiful thing about this step is that it creates a positive feedback loop. When you make people feel increased, you also feel increased. The act of giving genuine value, of contributing to someone's growth, of being a source of light in someone's day, this is intrinsically rewarding. It makes you feel more alive, more purposeful, more connected to the flow of life. And this feeling reinforces your impression of increase, which makes you even more magnetic, which attracts even more opportunities. You enter an upward spiral where giving and receiving become one continuous flow, where you cannot tell where your increase ends and others' increase begins, because it is all one movement of universal expansion.